most high achievers, would they come to me and say, hey, CK, I want to get to the next level. And their strategy is, what could I add? What
Right,
new tools, technologies,
right.
knowledge, relationships, projects, companies, whatever it may be, what could
Yeah.
I add? The fastest way, from my point of view, giving personal experience as well as coaching others, actually is to
Mhm.
reduce the mental chatters, especially reduce the
Mhm.
mental constructs of what the world should be versus being in reality and just being open and okay and equanimous with what's happening right now. The fastest way to exponential growth, from my personal experience, is to reduce the internal chatters, the neuroses that we have.
I'll say, maybe we can come back to this. My next book, Leap to Wholeness, is about the science of filters. Filters are, if you go skiing with goggles that have like orange filters, they're filtering out the orange light. So the orange light bounces off them and everyone else can see it. That's why they look orange. But what gets to your eyes is everything but the orange. So filtering is an act of removing something from a signal, a data signal or whatever, and giving you everything else but that. And so I look at the science of filters. We use it all the time in audio and video processing, and how it's about starting with something that's completely full of noise and removing the part you don't want, and what comes through is a meaningful signal. And in the same way, our lives are cluttered with noise, all these voices and emotions and expectations and programs from our past experiences. And what we're doing with this work is filtering out those things that no longer serve us. One other way to look at those filters, which I think is really important, is to also see that as a person who has these emotions and these ideas about life, these belief structures, we are filtering information all the time. So like, I'm filtering your facial expressions through my own perceptive apparatus and deciding what I think you're feeling and then responding to that. And I do that with everybody. That's just the way we interact. And so if those filters inside of us are warped, or it's known, there's actually research that's been done that we project our emotional state onto other people by assuming that they feel like we feel. And this is, of course, not going to be accurate a lot of the time. And so it causes difficulties in relationship, in interactions and communication.
Since you open a loop, I want to close it. So what are some of the ways, the practices that one may have, since you're writing a book about it, to remain as open as possible, being as objective as possible, rather than projecting my own emotion onto others, from your point of view?
I think we have to see and understand what our filter is. You can't get through it or around it or let it go until you understand, oh yeah, I'm processing information in this way. I'm seeing everything that my spouse says as a criticism. And I've done that forever. And so I assume that's true, but that's actually a pattern in myself. So by doing practices like the one we talked about, accept your situation, accept when you feel criticized, recognize the pattern, see that you feel criticized a lot, value growth over accomplishment. So accomplishment in this case would be like arguing and being right. Like, I'm going to let go of being right with my spouse, and instead I'm going to value that I'm going to learn something about myself here, and I'm going to let myself be criticized, but I'm going to heal by seeing that this pattern is happening and I can let it go. I no longer need to take it personally when I'm told you didn't empty the dishwasher when I asked you to, or whatever it might be. So letting go of those patterns, we have to recognize them first, and then we can start to let go of those filters that clog up our perception and weigh down our communications.